Well, welcome to the shores of Lake Bolsena for the next exciting episode of the World Carp Classic and updates on what's going to be going on. This show is going to be about all the technical gadgets that are involved in the World Carp Classic. We've got images of the first fish that have been caught. There's questions and answers from Lee Jackson, and Tony Wade. He's actually going to be answering questions relating to the technical aspects of this show, and from Southampton Solent University. But also we've got prizes from the dynamite competition. So without further ado, let me introduce the next guest this evening. Is Daryl Hodges from Dynamite and Nick from the team, who are going to help us compare the show this evening.
We'll do our best, Russ.
Yep.
We'll do our best.
Indeed. Well, it's been another exciting day. The fish are starting to come out. They're starting to come out from around the lake. And you've both had a good look around and met some of the anglers today and caught up with them. What feedback have you been getting from them?
They've been excited today, haven't they? If we're honest, everyone. There's a bit of apprehension because people are thinking, "Oh, I'm not getting the wind and it's not quite perfect." But
yeah,
there's quite a lot of people that have gone a lot more confident than they were this time yesterday, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's very different on both sides of the lake. One side of the lake is very, very windy and they're very happy and excited, as Nick says, and the other side of the lake, they're excited that people are catching and they're optimistic, but they're not getting the action just yet. But maybe the wind will change.
I think that was one of the comments that was actually made, that the fishing in Bolsena is very much in the direction of where the wind is, and but I mean, anglers pretty much all around the lake have seen fish crashing, and they know that they're there. I was over towards the Montefascone side of the lake earlier on today, and I met up with Ardy and the guys. They put a lot of bait down, 20 to 30 kilos of bait. Went out and checked it all, and it's all gone.
Really? So the fish are there then? The fish are moving in?
Yeah.
And we heard
these fish on here are proper shoal fish, aren't
yeah.
they? I mean, it's not like maybe in the UK you have the odd one that's a bit of a resident in one area. These fish really do move around, and when they move around, they're in 30, 40, 50 fish at a time. If they're averaging sort of 12 to 15, 16 kilos.
20, 30 kilos been mopped up quite quickly.
Gone in a few minutes, sort of 20 minutes. They might hang around for a split second for a bit of scent that might be stuck in the weed, but they're off because they're not stupid. If when it's gone, and they're off again, aren't they? So
how are the guys that are leading the leaderboard at the moment? Are they feeding heavily?
I think the tactics that they're using seem to be very closely guarded. I think looking at the amount of bait that seems to be being prepared, I think there's quite a lot of bait going in.
Yeah, I think the same for Bianca and Lizette also. They're also...
I think you're going to have to put down, me personally, and I guess this is probably a minimum to what some of the guys are doing. I wouldn't, every time I had a fish, I'd be at least putting another 5 kilo boilie down, minimum.
Yeah, for sure.
And that would be definitely boilie, especially as we discussed the other day, with these undertows on here because of the wind kicking in. I mean, it looks tranquil out here because we're on the back of the wind, thank God. But if we're over there,
it's really windy.
The waves are bigger than sort of a surfing beach in the UK, aren't they? So it's any bait that goes down is very quickly washed away over there.
Well, look, let's have a look at the first fish that was caught. We've got some footage of that, which perhaps I think the viewers would like to see. Right, news has come in of the first fish that's been caught at the competition, peg number 84. We're just on the way down to have a look and see what the fish is and see who caught it. Exciting moment, the first fish of this year's event. So then guys, you've got the first fish of the competition. Ça va? Ça va. Dis donc, félicitations, t'es en tête de la compétition. Je suis très content pour toi.
Je suis content d'être venu et je t'ai fait confiance que c'était vraiment bien ici.
Ouais, ah oui, là c'est une super spot. Hein?
Lake.
Excellent. Well, let's have a look at this beast then. What he was actually saying was that he was delighted to have been here, delighted to have actually participated in the event, and actually thinks this is an amazing lake. This is exactly what we're looking for. Big, healthy, strong Bolsena carp. And congratulations. So, but it is a record because it's the first fish of the 2013 World Carp Classic.
Yes.
So, congratulations.
Very happy.
Yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent. that was a great moment to actually be there, to witness and see that very first fish of this year's competition be caught, be weighed, and the leaderboard to commence. But talking about competitions and things, we've been running a competition with dynamite baits, and Nick, do you want to run through that with Darryl and explain what's been going on there and the opportunity of actually what they're going to win?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's an exciting competition because one of the winners will win some bait that isn't actually currently available on the market, is it?
That's right, Nick.
Which is always a coup.
Yep.
But just to touch on what the competition is, we've got a video like the one you've just seen of the competition winners that won the Dynamite sort of sponsored entry from the Dynamite website. And in that VT that you're going to see in a little while is the answer to the question. And basically the question will be, if anyone hasn't seen the Facebook and the social media yet, and you can start entering now if you think you've got a guess. I know some people have already got
We've already got some correct answers in, yeah.
So the question basically was, during the VT, Wim, one of the Dutch guys that won the competition, makes a very clear statement of what two baits he's brought with him here to Bolsena from Dynamite Baits, what he's put his trust in. It's really obvious. It's not a difficult question, is it?
No, it's not difficult.
And so if you want to have a guess now or you want to wait for the VT, it doesn't matter because it's a hat draw, so it doesn't matter whether you enter first or last. Do you want to say a little bit about what they win, the two winners?
Yeah, sure. There's two prizes on offer. There's a dynamite bucket and there's 5 kilos of two baits. As Nick said earlier, one of the products is a product that's actually not available yet. This is a new Tiger Nut Monster Tiger Nut Red Ammo, which is based on our original recipe with an extra fruit palatant in, and it's been catching really, really well. Actually, that's the right bag.
That's the bag, yeah.
Yeah.
So this red ammo here, obviously you've got a very successful bait in the Tiger Nut that's existed.
Exactly.
But that's pink in colour almost, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
it's
washed out pink.
That's right. So it's a perfect summer bait, but perfect ingredients from the ice cream industry, which lets the flavours leak out in cold water.
Smell it through a sealed bag.
Yeah. That's
Which is
right.
quite odd.
Yeah. And it's got a really unique fruit palatant, but otherwise it's the same as the original Tiger Nut.
Okay, brilliant. It's a nice washed out colour, which I know is in vogue at the moment, but you guys have done that for a while anyway, haven't you?
Yeah.
So one person will win 5 bags of the Monster Tiger Nut Red Ammo, and the other winner or lady will win
5 kilos of the Crave, which doesn't really need a lot of introduction. Already a lot of anglers are saying this is equal to the Source, and that's no mean feat. So I think actually it's already overtaken some anglers as their favourite dynamite boilie.
Definitely, it smells awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've been talking earlier about how people have been baiting, and we were talking about the size of the lake and what that means. And I know that Ross has been out on the lake, out in a boat, which is obviously a totally different perspective.
I went with Ross actually, and
that was quite an experience going out. And
obviously it's a totally different perspective, and I know we've got a VT that shows what you guys saw looking back when we spent the whole week looking out. So if we roll that now and have a look at that.
Yep.
The event started now. Fish are starting to get caught. Bianca and Lizette are the two lady anglers from Dynamite Baits. They're in the lead at the moment, and we're now going down to the boats to get a boat's eye view of what's going on. We've got some special equipment on the boat from Ray Marine, which includes the night vision, the fish finders and echo sounders there. But also what this will do, it will give us a perspective of not only how big the lake is, but also where the anglers are placed over this massive water. But let's go and see. The boat's waiting for us in the harbour, so we'll catch up very shortly. So, right, what we're now going to do is we're now going to go and have a look at the lake from the lakeside and see where the carp anglers are. We're going to go out and have a look around the lake and just from the shore, and really to get a perspective of just how big this lake is. And I think really the best way to have done that is from a boat. So why not? Let's go do it, Darryl.
Yep, let's go.
This is all an area that's pegged. In fact, right the way round from here, right the way down to Gradley, and then further down to Capodimonte, and then Capodimonte we've got Marta, and then round to the bottom end of the lake we've got Monteviscone, and then coming right the way back up to Bolsena. But there's some large areas of the lake that we haven't pegged this year, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. Fish are starting to get caught, which is a good sign. Not many big fish at the moment, which is a little bit surprising. We thought the fish would be bigger at this point, but still, we're only just over 24 hours into the competition.
Well, just looking down at the water, it's unbelievably blue, beautiful blue sky today and crystal clear water. It could be anywhere in the world, but Lake Bolsena in Italy, fantastic.
Well, talking of boats, Ray Marine. Ray Marine are one of the new sponsors and partners of the event this year, and we've got some great technology with us here. They've just brought out the Dragonfly, and this is going to be on one of the boats that we're going to be out with over the next few days, and we're going to show you footage from the boat and show you how incredible this piece of kit is. Not only do you can literally see lines in the water, all the weed and everything that there is around. And it's got the down imaging and the side imaging as well. It's really, really clever piece of kit.
It's got GPS built in as well, Ross, I think, hasn't it, for those people that want the extra sort of functionality of a product like that. For people that are used to fishing these massive waters, they use GPS all the time, don't they?
Yeah,
so it's got a lot of features, isn't it, for such a small unit?
But I think the thing with this as well, it's so intuitive. It really is easy to use. I mean, I can use it, so that's that in itself is. I mean, literally, it's click, click, turn, hit the button, and away you go. It really is.
I did have a play around with it. I think you did as well, didn't you? Because Ray Marine obviously had a stand at the opening event and ceremony, and we all had. I think most people had a look at it. And you can get 2 feeds, so you get the sort of the traditional sonar look, which everyone will recognise, which is brilliant for seeing sort of the density of the bottom and getting a really clear outline of the bottom. But then for that sort of extra detail, which I think was brilliant, it's basically a photograph of the bottom, isn't it?
It is.
You can see individual trees. You can see individual strands of weed, the humps, what the humps are made of. I mean, it's a major.
There's a few guys who wish they had one out there.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
I mean, talking about it, we're talking about fish finders now. There was a question on our social media page earlier, all about whether we think technology, and it's something I was interested in your response as well, whether you think the technology, especially things like fish finders, has taken away an element of watercraft from your fishing. I know what my feeling is on that, but I'll be interested to know what you guys do. I know the guy that asked on Facebook. I thought it was a brilliant question.
Yeah.
I think for sure it has, but there's waters like these where you clearly need that sort of kit to give you an advantage and help. But I think for sure people coming into fishing for the first time, they start using stuff like that, then yeah, they're not sort of working their way upwards and getting that knowledge that you need to be a good all-round angler.
Yeah, I think there's a line to be drawn, a clear line on it. I think from my point of view, and it's totally personal, and I know certain people would disagree, you know, the old bait boat debate and things things like that. But from my point of view, if you don't need it and you can do the job
without it
properly, then I think you should. And I think that's sort of I think that is sort of cheating in inverted commas a little bit then. But if you try to put a marker float out in here, you wouldn't have finished plumbing your swim up before you left the competition. I mean, you've got a huge amount of water to find, and I also think there's a huge skill in using an echo sander in its own right.
Yeah, without doubt.
So you know, I think to me it's not cheating in the slightest. It's a tool that allows you to fish effectively.
Exactly, and I think it's a tool that, you know, when you're serious about angling, and you know, when you're on seriously big waters and even like little waters and nooks and crannies, you need to know what and where the fish are going to be.
It certainly makes sure your fishing and your presentation more effective, doesn't it?
I think one other thing worth mentioning as well is the boat craft that some of these anglers have got. Obviously not used to fishing with boats in England. A lot of UK anglers, I mean, you look at some of these guys in the boats and they're just expert handlers of, you know, getting out in waves that are sort of 3 feet high and rocks and everything. And I wouldn't fancy doing that in the dark.
No, I mean, where we were over, we did a film, and I know we've got one queued up later to show the guys. We caught up with Team Italia that are representing you guys. And they weren't right in the teeth of it, but it was sort of pushing across them, wasn't it?
In fact, we commented on it, didn't we? Yeah, those rocks were pretty precarious.
We had to refilm the actual shoot because the wind was so strong. But you know, just to even take your reels, your rigs out and drop them in those sort of conditions and get any level of accuracy whatsoever, you have to be very competent in a boat.
And on top of that, what you're looking to do is actually get your baits in accurately in terms of the right place. You know, otherwise you're going to be dropping baits all over the place, and then from that point of view, you know, what's the point? But the other thing we've got, the night vision here, this is part of not only the security aspects of the event, but it really is a brilliant piece of kit. When it's pitch black, you can look through this, it brings up the actual, all the heat elements of what's going on, but also it provides perfect vision at night. It really is a very useful piece of kit to have.
I actually used that last night outside our accommodation at 1 o'clock this morning and found a porcupine.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just at the end of our garden, of our sort of area outside the house. It's insane how clear it is. You can see the individual spikes.
It's a shame we can't show the viewers actually exactly how good it is, because I was really
Well,
impressed tonight.
what we're aiming to do, I think we will be able to show the viewers,
okay.
because actually what we're going to have is we're going to get this version of it actually on the boat, and we're
Okay.
going to go out at night. We're going to be doing some night patrols to see what's going on, because this actually provides perfect vision.
So does the screen connect to the eyepiece? Does it?
No, not at all. What we've actually got is on the front of the boat is like a remote control camera, and
Right.
which you control from that, and literally
Excellent.
it is seriously.
And you get a
seriously
decent
clever.
screen size to have a look at.
Yeah, and this is what. So, but what we'll do later on in the week, we'll go out with the boat at night and check to see what's going on. But in the meantime, let's go and have a look at the.
This is the video with no hints or anything, but the video coming up now is the winners from the Dynamite competition for a free entry, a sponsored entry.
Yeah.
And not long into this video, hint, is the answer to the question that we've been running on Facebook all day
And
long.
I'll quickly say, don't let the 2 bags in front of us throw you.
Yeah.
We're at peg 36. We've made our way around now to 2 very special guests, 2 very special anglers, Wim and Davey, who won our competition on the Dynamite website. So we're just making our way around now to have a quick conversation with them and see how they're going on in the Dynamite World Carp Classics.
I was outside when he called me and he told me that I have to get some 3 days, and I couldn't believe what I've heard, so I told him yes immediately. That's this is great, really great. You would never think that this can happen to you.
We chose to fish with the grave because it's a body with fish in it and a lot of good ingredients. And we want to have 2 different bodies. So we also got the chocolate malt tiger nut. It's a sweet body with the tiger nut touch in it. I think we don't know yet which body is the best for here, so we want to try 2 different baits. We also used a lot of pellets, a lot of chopped tiger nuts and other particles, so we can try a lot of things. Use 50 mils and 20 and 26, because there's also a lot of big fish here, a lot of small fish, so we want to get the fish feeding on the swim and hope it stays long enough with the smaller bodies to catch one.
I know it's a match, so obviously it's the look of the draw, but are you happy where you've drawn this year?
Yes, we're happy with what we've drawn. Some of the persons who ended the top rated last year, we're standing on this pack last year, so it's good. We got a lot of it in front of us. We're fishing, yes, that's secret, but we're fishing in kind of that stuff, so we'll see what it brings, get good bodies out, and hope we'll get a 30 kilo fish.
Well, it's an exciting moment when you see the fish start to come in here at Lake Bolsena, and there are multiple catches that have been reported. Different areas of the lake where there have been double hookups at the same time, and of course there are anglers that have lost fish as well. And there's reports that Lee's missed a couple, hasn't he, Lee?
I think Lee Jackson, they've had the wind kick into them. Obviously past world champions in their own right in different elements, so we can guarantee if fish get on top of them, they're gonna make the most of it. I know they've got a huge amount of weed in front of them. We've got a video later with Lee, and while we were there filming that, we saw, and unfortunately on their point of view, obviously we have to have regulations here in the match of 250 metres out as a maximum, but we know that the locals all fish at 400 to 500 metres to get past the weed bed. So what they're doing is obviously doing well to pick up bites from inside the line. Lee actually had a savage take while we were there yesterday doing the filming, and I think they've now had 5 or 6, maybe 7 fish today since the wind's changed.
Right.
So they're in the hunt for sure. I think they're winning their section, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Here you go. Here's Lee, although the resolution on the pictures, then you may not be able to see it quite clear, but yeah,
you can see the size of the waves, as Daryl says, from behind. That is choppy out there. You're going to have a rather large pair of fortitudes to go out in that and land in that, because especially as an English pair, obviously we're not hugely used to that sort of angling. But I mean, obviously they're not the only pair doing well. The girls who Lisette and Bianca fishing for Dynamite, they started off like a steam train yesterday.
And they're
didn't
still
they?
going strong.
Kind of slowed down a little bit for a second. Someone else took their
There we
place.
go. There's one of the fish that they've caught.
Look at the waves there also as well.
Yeah.
And that's the key, isn't it? They're all on the end of the wind.
Yeah.
And obviously they were. I think they were in second place for all of about 25 minutes.
Yeah, and then they were back in
and
first
they got
place.
back on it,
Exactly. Yeah,
and they put back on. I think what are they on 12, 13 fish
12
now?
fish, I think now. Is it?
You obviously the guys can go on our website worldcarpclassic.com throughout the whole event and see the leaderboard here. It's a damn sight more full than it was yesterday when we were talking about it, because last night it kicked off, didn't it? There was obviously 220 kilo fish have now been caught, so that's over £40 UK money, and obviously virtually every swim apart from a couple of dodgy sections.
Yeah, it's two sections that are not catching at the moment.
Yeah, and what's interesting is they're on the opposite side of the lake to where the wind's blowing.
They're on the back of the wind. To be honest with you, they're the perfect swims. I would love to be in there if the wind was on it.
Sure.
Because at 80 metres, they've got over 90 feet of water in front of them.
Yeah.
So initially you're thinking, oh God, we're on a massive lake and we can only fish 90 metres maximum. But if the wind was blowing in, over those two steps, basically it goes step, sort of 70 metres to 70 feet.
Yeah, very deep.
And then it comes really nice and shallow, doesn't it? So with that wind blowing in, that shallow shoreline is going to be awesome. And I think it will turn around tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I hear.
I think it's worth pointing out, although it looks like a two-horse race at the moment a little bit, a couple of fish for the guys in third, and it's all going to change around. And if that wind does move, then two decent fish is going to change things.
You could easily. I mean, when we were with the Italian guys earlier, Danelli and Riccardo, who we fish with on live TV. Obviously not taking anything away from the guys that are on Cabo di Monte or in March at the moment.
Sure.
Knowing the water as they do, they said to me, no doubt about it, they would have won this match by now.
Right.
They were that confident.
Right.
They were that confident, knowing the spots that they do off the beach, that with that wind in them, they'd have had 10 fish a day. Yep. That's what they said to us.
The thing is, that's the luck of the draw.
Exactly.
It's a question of. I mean, look at the leaderboard, as you correctly said there, Daryl. The numbers of fish. I mean, there's 10 and 13 and 4, but look, 4 fish have got 60.3 kilos.
Catching some better quality fish, aren't
they? So looking further on down at the ATT section, there's 10.7 kilos from Mitch Street and Simon Watson with 1 fish. The big fish and Carp sections are still yet to show. Currently showing at the moment is 29.2 kilos with 2 fish from Casper Toth and Robert Dios. And then looking at the Carping Club section just over here is a Varias Reduskis with 4 fish, but 54.5 kilos.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And then moving on to the Imperial baits is Gabriel Stasi and Thomas Waniski. They've got 3 fish to 41.6
Glad
kilos.
this is you reading these out. If we had to read these out,
he's an old pro now.
Yeah. But then moving on to the strange enough, nothing in the jetfish section at the moment, which is a surprise.
Which was a very, very productive section last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It shows you why Bolsena is as good as it is for this event, doesn't it? You can't. There's no way you know where you're going to win from.
But look, Club Carpus, they've got 8.2 kilos with 1 fish. There's 4 fish here in the northern bait section with Ladislav Sander and Thomas Kiss, 34.9 kilos. And then they're moving on up to moving down to the Pescali section, which is just round here in Bolsena, 10.4 kilo with 1 fish there. That's Nicola Samanotti from Italy, and then the German guys from the catch and release team. They've got 4 fish, 38.4 kilos. So that's in the PBTV section.
I think it's worth mentioning as well for those guys that are looking at the leaderboard on the worldcarpclassic.com website. That this is obviously although it's live, it needs to be verified by HQ. So if you come back in an hour's time, it might have changed slightly. I know the girls will still be up top, but the sort of the rankings will have changed. And if you scroll down right to the bottom of the page to the catch report section, you can actually see quite a lot of the photos as well when the marshals take the images. which is a real nice touch, and again another first.
So
from
if
the
you
World
come
Cup
onto here,
Classic.
Nick, literally under the weight, you can see the
pick a
links
big one.
there. If you click on one of those,
Pick a big one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pick a big one.
Basically, they're
Yeah,
obviously
that's one
in
we
blue.
saw earlier on.
Yeah, I mean the actual quality
Perhaps
of the
this
photo.
one here, look, there's 15.8 kilos. That would be a nice fish to have a look at. That's
The actual quality of the photos of people looking is not
yeah,
amazing.
look at that. That's a
Not so
lovely
bad.
fish.
Yeah.
The thing is about these Bolsena fish, they're so long. They're
Yeah.
golden in colour and they're
Very
so
clean
strong.
as well.
Yeah, they're wild, aren't they?
Yeah.
Proper wild fish. So I mean, the images aren't amazing, obviously, because they're taken on mobiles out around the bank, but you can get a good idea of the quality by looking through those. And I think there's about 30 or 40 images up there already that
Yeah.
people can have a good look through.
Absolutely.
And you can go to World Carp Classic Facebook as well and see that. The World Carp Classic 15 Instagram as well and see a load of photos. So it's really easy to keep in touch with everything that's going on.
There's one from Lizette again. Lovely
Yeah.
fish. Lovely fish.
Lovely
Yeah,
fish.
I don't know how many people got the right answer yet. I mean, there's only probably a few minutes of that.
Yeah,
I was just
if you-
looking at Dynamite, made me think the competition will be closing in sort of 15 minutes or so. So if anyone's got a last ditch guess,
Get
or
your
if,
answers in
Get
now.
your
yeah.
answers in quickly.
because we'll read the winner out at the end of the show.
Absolutely. In the meantime, let's have a look at Team Italy and see how they've been getting on.
Anglers and tourists too are always amazed by its beauty. In regards to fishing, this lake can be quite generous, but it can be quite tough too, especially during competitions. We're always wary, as you never know what peg you're given. It shows even in this competition, where a lot of professional anglers haven't caught anything yet. A lot of it is down to luck. Regarding the catches, Bolsena offers lots of carps over 20 kilograms and up to 31 kilograms. Last season, Daniele caught a 27 kilogram carp with a massive head. Despite the difficulties in finding a clean spot with no weeds, last night we managed to catch two fish, one around 11 kilograms and the other one 15.5 kilograms. They both fell into the same trap, so we will stick to the same bait. Every respectable fisherman loves the catch and release, especially here in Bolsena with all these amazing carps. I hope that in the future our kids will be able to enjoy fishing in places like this.
Well, as you can see, that was a fantastic swim that Daniele and Riccardo actually had, and having actually gone round and seen this lake today, it really is. It's a stunning venue. I think there's lots of things we're going to go through yet, and lots more to go through in the show this evening, isn't there, Nick?
Yeah, to be honest, I think I should probably stop blabbing as much as I am. To be fair. There's an awful lot. I know. I'm really excited about the competition winners.
Yeah, it's going to be good
to see who's won that. There's a website, isn't there, and a web address, isn't there? An
Yeah,
email
yeah.
if people want to enter quickly.
I think you said you got probably 5 or 10 minutes to dynamiteweb.eu. Sorry, start that again. Web.eu at dynamitebaits.com.
So it's
And,
web.eu at dynamitebait.com.
Send an email.
Send your email with
and
your
it'll be in
answers.
the hat.
So if you were to pick two boilies like Tiger Nut and Tiger Nut Red Ammo, for example,
Yep.
hint, then that would probably be a good way to email those in if you haven't seen the VT. Yeah. Okay. So that's one way of doing it. So obviously those guys, Daniele and Riccardo, are the guys that we did the live stream
Yes,
with.
yeah.
Fantastic anglers, local anglers, and Riccardo, the one with the glasses on, is actually in a long-term relationship with Mr. Sandro Di Cesare.
Oh, indeed.
Who's obviously the godfather of Italian fishing. So he's got a bit of a leg on the ladder before he ever even went to line. I think he's got quite an oracle, carp fishing oracle, to go and get some information and
Absolutely.
get some teed up from. But we also did another video, a slightly longer one, which wouldn't really suit the live stream, which is going to be on the Dynamite Baits YouTube channel and website tomorrow, which goes into a bit more depth about the rig they're using, the sort of hooks.
And they're catching on.
Yeah, well, I think they've had 3 now, haven't
Yeah.
they?
2 or 3, I think. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
2 fish.
So yeah, it shows obviously the baits are working, the rigs are working. There's a couple of unique little things like the length of the hook link is very different to what we would expect.
Definitely, yeah.
The size of the bait is basically a golf ball. I wouldn't even dream of putting it in an English lake. So that's a really interesting thing to see as well. And I think tomorrow we're going to do a few interviews with a couple of other people, because there's a fair few on the Facebook and Twitter asking about rigs and things that people are using.
And I think, you know, if people have got questions this evening, please feel free to ask us, and we'll be happy to answer those. And if you've got any of the competitors that are actually watching, please, I mean, you can upload your photographs and images to Facebook as well, and then we're going to share those with everybody else, because so many people are wanting to see what's going on, and it's great to be able to share those images.
Yeah, I know Ron van der Burg, who we featured a couple of nights back, and Remco have taken some beautiful shots of theirs. I'm not sure whether they're watching tonight, but if they are, then put those up for sure, because they're cracking photos. But all the guys around here are pretty good with a camera. So if you are out there and you've got some images of your own captures that we haven't managed to get, obviously due to the size of the lake, then it'd be good to get them up. But if people do want to ask questions, any questions about fishing related stuff, World Cup Classic related stuff, then WCC UK on Twitter, or you can go to the World Cup Classic official Facebook page as well.
.com,
and ask questions via that. Also the live stream, which people are watching, there's a question facility.
Here are a
on
few of the images that are coming up at the moment. It really is.
So this is a Facebook album, I guess, is it?
Yeah.
That people can
That's
can
a nice
see.
one.
There's some cracking photos of the guy.
That's an interesting one.
That's the one we took of Kevin, who fell asleep. That's the size of the waves that you can expect when you're on the end of it.
That's the wristbands that everybody's got, so we know who's competing in the event.
That's
and,
Bibby City.
there's
Opening ceremony.
There's Ardy.
The rather well-built Ardy.
That's what the section pegs look like.
That's a big banner that we had at the opening ceremony. That was the opening ceremony itself, the flag parade. Inside the hall when we did the peg draw, which was pretty epic.
And look at the scene.
The storm
there.
coming in, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just before it came in.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that photo go up on Facebook, and I thought, I think that might be Frank Warwick's actually. I'm not sure. He put one very similar, saying the storm from hell is coming from my right.
And it did. And there was a deluge.
And I think there's another one planned for Friday. A few people are saying.
Yeah, Friday morning. I think.
Yeah, the weather conditions are changing.
That's the beautiful me doing some photography.
That's the live show from last night.
So yeah, check these out because we update this all the time. We've loads.
Technical issues.
I blew up my tyre. Yeah, I hit a curb. This is
one of the Dutch teams. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously they're the current winners in the current leaders in there as well. All the marshals, quite a team. People think there's 4 or 5 marshals when you've got a lake this size and a match this size. And that's just the students from the college. There's all load of head marshals as well on top of that. Some more of the teams in the square during the event itself. So as you can see, there's
the cake. That was the cake being brought in especially.
By the police.
By the police. I had a police escort. That's very rare you actually get a police escort for a cake.
Anything. For anything, let alone a cake.
But that's the level of support you actually get in Bolsena.
Is the cake all gone now, Ross?
Well, I tell you what, has the last bits finally gone?
I didn't eat it all.
I know. Are you sure, Nick?
I had a large chunk.
Yeah,
A larger piece than average, but Kevin, one of the head marshals, did take a huge piece of cake round with him.
Right.
The marshals all shared it out between them.
Yeah.
And definitely we did Terry proud. It was the chef Terry.
Yeah.
It was definitely all eaten.
That was good.
But yeah, definitely keep checking back. It's if you're onto your Instagram, then it's World Carp Classic, all one word, 15, all one word. Have a look on there because they're slightly less formal photos, taken on our mobiles as we're out and about doing the photo shoots and everything else. So it's a bit more light-hearted, shall we say?
But the thing is, it's a daily show. There's more information. We'll bring you further updates tomorrow, and the show goes from 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock every night.
Yeah,
we got some good interviews lined up for tomorrow, I think, as well. So there's always something interesting and fresh to look at. We'll get a different perspective from the other side of the lake, and
well, we're manic, aren't we?
It's been full on again. I've been on a full on day.
I put the trip meter on the car when I got into Bolsena on the first day.
Yeah.
I've done 177 miles in 3 days.
Right.
And I haven't gone anywhere but the edge of the lake.
Right.
So it shows literally the size of it, and obviously how busy we are everyone's going in different directions. the media team here from the university, from Southampton Solent Uni.
Well, we had to fill the tank up again as well today.
Yeah, you had to fill the tank up. The Solent Uni guys have been obviously crazy trying to get this prepared every day.
Yeah.
And they're obviously doing an awesome job. We stole one of their staff earlier to do an interview in Italian, which the guys have seen as well. So yeah, we've got some real good plans over the next couple of days.
And we've got some questions that Lee Jackson was asked today, so perhaps let's have a look at those and see what questions he got asked, and indeed his answers.
Hi guys, I'm here with Lee Jackson from Team Carp World Mainline. We asked for a few questions off our social media on our Twitter and Facebook pages. We got one from Peyton Stephen on our Twitter account. So we're just going to ask that out because we think it's a great question. So Lee, with the depths and undertow here at Bowl Centre, would you think an out-and-out boilie approach is better than a particle approach?
I actually think, I mean, yeah, there is an undertow on Bolsena, but you've got to remember, like when you fish rivers, there's an undertow and the bait ends up somewhere. I mean, personally, I prefer the boilie approach because the bait doesn't move about. When you bait up, in other words, with boilies, you can be fairly sure they're ending up where you're putting them. Whereas with small, lighter baits, like particle type baits, they are going to be affected by the undertow a bit. But having said that, I mean, you can. Quite a good tip is to bait a few little spots all round your main area. Then you know that some of the bait's going to end up where you're fishing. Like I'm talking about particles now. But I mean, I can remember like fishing on the St Lawrence River, and we had to work, and which is a lot more undertow than this, believe you me. And you had to, like with different types of bait, you had to work out exactly where you had to bait from according to the weight of the bait. So yeah, I mean, the particles undoubtedly do work. Yeah. But one thing I would say, I'm more comfortable using boilies because I'm pretty sure they're staying fairly put. I mean, you see people using PVA bags with little light bits in PVA sticks. I mean, Rob's using a PVA stick, which is a great idea for, because it's not going to be masked by weed or anything. But as soon as that PVA dissolves, whatever he's got in that bag just drifts off into sort of into Rome or something like that, but stick with the particles. They attract the fish, obviously. But one thing I do know about this lake is, I mean, going by last year's result, they, as well as attracting the carp, they do attract like things like tench and whatever, things that you don't want to catch. I mean, you've got all that trouble with getting the baits in position, taking loads of time getting it in that position, and then you get wiped out by a tench, which doesn't count, So for me, it's the boilies, really,
Okay, thanks very much for your answer, Lee.
No problem, mate.
Good luck for the rest of the competition.
Thanks, mate.
Well, there's fish that have been caught during the show this evening, and as a result of that, the leaderboard's being updated all the time. So yeah, look at this.
Fantastic.
O'Reilly,
Dynamite boy next to me has just gone up with
14 fish now. They're up to 100. Oh, crikey!
Look how close that is.
It's 124.7.
Oh dear, that is a match.
124.4.
That is a match. That is
0.3. In it, and
they're going head to head for sure.
But also, look, Lee Jackson and Rob Tuff are up there now. 68 kilos.
Come on, England.
6 fish.
We were only saying that earlier, that if they're on the fish now and the fish are showing, they could easily get in that pack.
Yeah, obviously those fish that we heard rumours of a couple of hours ago have now been verified.
That's right.
Obviously there's so many levels of verification that you guys in HQ do to make sure everything is 100% foolproof. So it does take a couple of hours for it to all get verified.
I think it'd be useful to just update in terms of the actual process of what happens. So a fish gets caught, the marshals go along, they weigh it, and the marshals are called 24/7, so throughout the day and night. Subsequently, they go along, they take a photograph on their phone, they then hit the send button. That then automatically sends the information through to us. But the competitors, as well as having that, they've got their own catch reports, which are signed, and also the marshals have the signed reports as well. So that all gets checked and double checked, and copies of that then come back to HQ. And all the information that goes up on the leaderboard goes from unverified to verified.
So up there now, Ross, if you want to show people how they can access that. Because there's been a few questions about where do you find the app, basically, where do you find the leaderboard?
What you need to do is you need to come over to here to follow the event live. You click on here, on the follow the event live section. That then, you fill in your details, and then from that will then send an email straight through to your own email address down here. This is what you fill in, and then from that, you then click on the button, and then that will mean that you gain full access to the site to see the live section of the site. So not only will there be the live shows up there, there'll also be the full leaderboard and all that information on there. So that's all you have to do. Very simple. Do it once, and then that's it. You're in.
Excellent.
Brilliant. Well, Ross, it's probably worth announcing now. Good friend Sophie's just passed us the two winners from the competition, so I'll announce that. We had just over 118 correct entries, and the two winners are, I've got your job now, two very good names.
Yeah.
A Michael Newmar from Austria and a Kieran Shildrake from the UK. So we'll be in touch in the next 24 hours via email, and we'll arrange to get that bait sent out for you. So thanks for entering.
Well done, guys.
Yeah, well done.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
5 kilo of dynamite bait each in a bucket. That's not a bad day's work.
No, very good.
Entering the
Very
competition.
good, and maybe we can do another one later in the week. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question coming as well, Ross. I'll pass that one over to you because I think you know a bit more about the cake than me. So there's a question for you.
About the cake?
Yeah.
More about the cake. Ross, was the cake inspired by the... Yes, it was. Basically, the question is, Ross, was the cake inspired by the wonderful cake that I brought out last year's event? Indeed, yes, it was. That's from David Ruley. So it was a great cake you brought out last year, and it gave me the idea of actually taking it to one step further and making it a fantastic cake for the event for this year. So thanks for your inspiration last year. Picked up on that idea, and subsequently you've seen the results. We've created the 15th anniversary cake. So thanks for that.
I know we've got a little while left for us, not too long, but if anyone else has got any last minute questions relating to the day or anything else, then check out the Facebook page or the Twitter page and have a chat. Ask away. You've got young Sophie behind the cameras flying around passing us questions all the time, so if
Absolutely.
we've got time to get anything else answered, or we can log them for tomorrow. So
Sure.
a question won't get wasted if it's suitable.
Not at
for the
all. So
guys.
please ask the questions. We're here to answer them, and feel free. That's it. Well, we've got more coming up shortly. We've got the underwater TV footage and some of the things that we've got with the technology, and we've got Tony Wade from Solent University, who's actually out here, who I met a good few years ago, and let's have a look what Tony's got to say.
I'm Tony Wade. I'm a senior lecturer in outside broadcasting at Southampton Solent University. What's happening here? Well, we brought a film crew along to provide live coverage of the key events in the World Carp Classic 2013. We've produced a live multi-camera outside broadcast of the big opening ceremony. We're delivering 5-hour-long live programs, kind of in the style of Spring Watch Meets Big Brother from this sandy beach. And we're going to deliver live coverage of the prize giving and the closing ceremony. We've been working with Ross Honey for about 5 years now. We first met up and we chatted about a bit of photography, a bit of video production. But in the time since we've met, we've escalated the scale of our media operations. We've got much more involved with social media, with the internet, and with making kind of interactive TV packages. Ross had a big idea earlier on this year that he wanted to get involved in internet TV. And it so happened that Solent University at that time was looking to get involved in an internet TV project. So it made complete sense to pursue the internet TV venture and apply that technology to the coverage of the World Carp Classic. There's lots of collaboration happening here, not just two different departments in one university working together, which in itself is quite unusual, but also we have our partners in Hungarian TV and lots of other media organisations. Nowadays, because digital photography has democratised filmmaking so much, a lot of our contestants are bringing in really high quality coverage, pictures and stills that they've taken. The coverage here is an interesting mix of kind of the best of classical 20th century multi-camera TV coverage, but spiced up with modern 21st century interactivity. So we're embracing social media. We've got a program where we're getting live feeds from the internet, live feeds from Facebook and Twitter, but we're also adding the production values from proper multi-camera TV studio production, a great mix of the best of the last century and the new century in media coverage. Solent University is all about the student experience. We've got a double kind of initiative here. One is that we're working with our students on this project. Yes, we're a technology school and we teach them how this equipment works, how the technology operates, what to do with it. We're actually applying that knowledge in the field out here. We've had quite a few what you might call Apollo 13 moments when you realise you've got the wrong plug or the wrong adapter, and there isn't an electronics shop down the road. We don't have our university technicians 2 floors away. We have to come up with creative solutions for the things we haven't got. The second return for our students, we really want at Solent University to embrace internet TV, and the obvious thing to do was to partner up with World Carp Classic, with Angling Spirit, to bring this project to fruition in Bolzana as a showcase piece to demonstrate the kind of quality of internet TV coverage we can produce.
Well, we're just getting into the final stages of the show, but before we do, I'd like to thank obviously the Southampton Solent University for the support of this event and the fantastic job they're doing out here. And I know that Nick's got a few things to say as well, just to kind of catch up.
Yeah, I mean, with regard to the uni, I mean, I would love to be a little bit closer to Southampton because, I mean, from a fishing point of view, which is specifically from the way we look at it, it's becoming such a lifestyle, sort of cool, sort of underground. The quality of the photography, the style of some of the magazines, the films that people are trying to make. Obviously, that takes a fair bit of skill, and not many people can just walk in and get it done. And these guys, I've learned a huge amount off them very quickly. So I've already asked Steve, one of the men behind the camera, if he fancied moving to Essex for a couple of weeks and doing a bit of private tutoring with me, but I'm not sure I could get away with that. But yeah, definitely the uni's been a massive help to us, hasn't it? And I hope we can get them back here next year because it's all just going to get bigger and bigger, I guess, and we can step it up even further. I mean, we're at a fishing match at the end of the day, and we're doing live TV.
Yeah, which in itself is great, and live TV on a beach.
Yeah, I think it's amazing when you look at some of the events that are out there. The sort of the technology that Solent University have allowed us to use and of using on their behalf has enabled us to do something that's never been done in fishing, and that's something brilliant to be proud of, and something to definitely take to another level as we move forward.
Well, I think also earlier on in the year, one of the companies that I met and some guys I met out at one of the shows, they had some pretty cool technology as well. And I tell you what, I started thinking about what I could do with it and how it could be linked in with what we're doing. And this is like the underwater cameras. Yeah. And in fairness, there are a lot of underwater cameras about. But the type of cameras that they've got, what I wanted to do is to actually bring that through from underwater and then pick up the signal and then via Wi-Fi transmit that through the internet. Yeah. And then this is where the whole kind of idea of like, this shows how far you can go with the internet.
I think the limitations from my point of view and a lot of other point of view when you look at underwater footage is that it's basically hit and hope. You don't really, very few people have the opportunity to see what's happening live as it's happening. You might get a sort of an action cam or a GoPro, one of those brands, stick it underwater and then come back when the battery's flat and hope you got some wicked footage.
Sure.
And sometimes you do, but mostly you don't. It's rubbish. So what Sebastian and the Carp Spot Derg guys did was pretty awesome from my point of view, being a bit of a techie when it comes to this sort of stuff. It basically allowed us to see live in real time what was happening underwater. And I know Sebastian and the guys from Carp Spot are here, and I'm going to step out and let them come in any second. But it'd be really interesting. I'm definitely going to hang around to see and get some information off Sebastian and the guys about how it works and how, sure, basically how. Obviously, Sebastian's done an awful lot of work to allow it to be simple, but once you put it in the water, it works incredibly well, even when we're in huge winds out.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, what we've done in everything we're doing here, it really is testing equipment in extreme conditions, and it wasn't as though this was in a little pond we're actually trying with no wind and the weather conditions were perfect with loads and loads of fish in. We were testing this in a lake that's 43 kilometres around the edge, 6-foot waves, and it really was. I mean, it was absolutely.
We saw plenty of fish, didn't we?
We saw loads of fish.
Even with really, really murky water.
Yeah.
The camera and the technology still worked very well. And I was speaking to Sebastian at the opening ceremony. A fly's just gone straight in my ear. At the opening ceremony the other night, and I know he's done even more work to make it even more effective. And I'm going to step out in a second and let them come in and talk it through. So I'm going to do big breakfast styling,
Right,
and,
okay.
and say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for another good show. I'll head off and the guys from Carp Spot can come back in.
Okay, Nick, thank you very much. That's really kind of you. So it's been an exciting time. I mean, with all the different technology, in fact, being surrounded by all this technology here. But these are two guys that really, they are problem fixers. You have a problem, they fix it. There's an issue, they know how to solve all sorts of different things. And it's been great actually meeting up with them and getting together with them and working profoundly on different projects. And this is just yet another step forward of joining different elements, different companies and different skill sets together. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sebastian and Robert from carpspot.de. Guys, you're very welcome to the show this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I'd like you to explain just a bit about the technology you've got here, because if I try and do it, I only know a little bit, but obviously you know a lot more than I'll ever know about it because you guys built it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's really a great technology. It's something, as Nick already said. I mean, it's something like a new step. It's something like a really revolution because you get much more insights what is happening underwater. Yeah. And we also had the great opportunity. Thank you for that. At the field test we already did, and we got so many insights of that, and we are really proud to present a wireless underwater camera who can really use and get all that insights. Yeah.
Well, do you want to show the viewers just you know, some of the information and just some of the kit itself? Perhaps,
yeah, sure, do it.
So the construction is bought on an action camera, who is available in much more quality than another cheap camera. And it's also recording in full HD, and in the newest camera GoPro, also Action Pro, in 4K. This is
4K?
the new full HD, and you can record in the camera. This is the basically.
So the camera's in a housing, but what is the black thing at the bottom?
Yeah.
That's the weight?
We construct a new housing where the camera is inside with all the power, and here at the bottom there is a 6 kilogram power pack inside.
Right.
Also the feed from the marker pole, and also the power for 2 days live stream.
So you can actually run this for 2 days non-stop.
Yeah,
is that what
permanently.
you're saying?
Yeah, that's totally right. Yeah, you have the batteries at the end there, so you can use them up to 2 days, and
Right.
then you can just change that and just place them there, so you can really look on the receiver unit. You can look for about 2 days and get these great views. Yeah, and you get all the feedback real time. Yeah.
Well, I know that when we're doing the test session, it was quite remarkable because we converted a lamppost into a for the internet, and then ran the cables through. And then what you've done is you custom made the equipment for us to be able to use, so we could see multiple screens on multiple cameras. So all the transmission, all the signals were being beamed straight in, picked up on the receiver box, in through the unit. And it was fascinating to be able to see, and the clarity of the images you can see at the moment on the screen were absolutely fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, it really was your demand to see it on 4 screens. And the good thing is that we don't have an Asian product that they produce far away. We are producing them in Germany.
Yeah.
So it's possible to customize it. Yeah. And we also have opportunities, like you said. You could use, for example, 4 screens or bigger screens or something like that. Yeah. And you already mentioned that we had more than 1 camera. That's also a feature. So you have 1 receiver unit, and you have also about up to 6 sending units.
Yeah.
So you can switch between all the underwater cameras. So if you don't have fishes maybe on camera number 1, you can switch to the second one, the third one, and the fourth one, and you get all the images right now in real time.
And I thought that was one of the important things that we should be able to do, because as it stands, when we actually started doing the actual program the actual test program, it was useful to see what's going on all 4 on different screens, on multiple screens, because obviously if you're just looking at one screen, you know, the fish may be evidently going to another one.
Yeah.
But actually be able to see 4 screens simultaneously, that's really cool.
Especially custom made for this event in June. Yeah.
And do you remember what happened when Ron was in the bivvy and all of a sudden he came out and he said, Ross, there's a massive, great big fisheye. I'm looking. Look at that! And the excitement is this huge, great big carp was actually looking straight at the camera lens,
directly in front, and they also take with the tail on the camera.
Yeah,
it's no problem. Yeah.
So I think that's the great thing about this particular setup and the equipment you've got. It's robust, and it's transportable. You know, you don't need loads and loads and loads of equipment. This is it. It comes in a suitcase-sized box, and to set up, it's straightforward.
Yeah, I think until now it was you really need really many things and a high value of equipment to bring something like that. And right now we have the opportunity for each angler, if they want to, really have a mobile system. You can pick them, just bring it there, place them out, and you can use that at every trip you want to use it, you know?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, look, the actual size of this, it all fits into a case this size.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the size of the case, and away you go. And I think, you know, looking at the equipment you've got and seeing how it's been tested, I think the future of what you've got and what you're developing is absolutely brilliant. So let's... yeah, I think we've got different questions coming in from different people. Could we actually put an underwater camera in the competitor swims at the moment?
Yeah, that's totally right. We already tried that. The problem we are facing right now is we have to place a camera there, where there's also a carp. So we already did that, but there was no carp at that pack. So right now we are looking for some packs who are already catching fish. And then possibly, we can do that and can have live footage. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think the only thing we'd need to do there is make sure there's actually a Wi-Fi signal or have access to the internet.
Yeah.
And then from that, it's totally possible, because literally all we needed, having converted the lamppost into a Wi-Fi hotspot, was that was it. We were able to transmit from there, and we did that for 3 days as well.
Yeah, we already did that.
So that's great. Well, look, very shortly we've got the video montage of different things that have actually come up during the course of the day.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank you guys for coming along this evening.
No problem.
And seeing what's been going on. You know, we've got plenty more things to do, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if it is possible whether or not we can actually get some hotspots set up over the next sort of 24 to 48 hours, and perhaps if it is possible, actually get one of these cameras into one of the leaders' swims.
Yeah.
Jason and Larissa find some big feeding holes underwater with a spot finder, and we hope that they get a fish this night, and then tomorrow we will take the underwater camera there on this place. And I hope we get some material the next days, live from Bolsena.
Excellent. Well, look, I'd like to thank everybody that's contributed to the show this evening. I hope you've all found it interesting. We look forward to being back again tomorrow night and updating you as to what's going on. And without further ado, we'll go over the video montage that we've got of images that have been caught during the day. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.